Alright, you want to see what drove me nuts in the last couple of days? Take a look at what I found. My name is Ricky and welcome to the Dev Method. So I found an issue and essentially it's guaranteed to make your app crash, and you might miss it because it's a pretty small, very significant impact, but very small part of the code that can go wrong in your SwiftUI. So I have an example here. Let me show you how this little demo app is supposed to work. So the intention of this is that I wanted to learn a little bit about the lifecycles of SwiftUI and specifically a view. So I built an onDisappear, an onChange, a task into a view, and I just wanted to see at what order do these things execute. So here you have just the initial state, and then the onAppear, and then I have the task, which right now doesn't await for anything, so no time will be spent there. So it's just before and after task. And then I have this onChange that I wanted to track for the scene phase. So the scene can either be active or inactive. And so, yeah, the onChange got called last. So that's the app. If you learned something new there, great. But here's something that drove me nuts. So I was in this project and we had many different files and I have many different packages that depend on each other. So like we have like core functionality and interfaces and data at lower levels than some of the higher level features. So I had a big, view kind of like this, many different lines, but across many different files. And I was already suffering from not understanding what was failing before, like whether it was a fatal error that I threw in there or something that actually core data threw some sort of error or an exception at runtime. So everything seemed to work out just fine, but I was always going into my one view and trying to load it on the screen, and I couldn't figure out what the issue is. So let me show you what that is. Okay, so I've gone ahead and replicated the issue in the code, but I just wanted to show you what happens when we run it first. So you know what UI to expect. So this is what comes up, just a blank screen. You might think, oh, the app is loading, but it's not. All right, so here it is. It just takes a couple of seconds and the app crashed. One thing I'll note, if you look at the left-hand side, so you notice it's in thread 1, which is the main thread, and there's no user space code here, so I wonder what get cache is. I'm not really sure. I'm just loading up a view into SwiftUI, right? Well, here I have libswiftcore. Dynamic library, and here's this get cache function, and you can see on the second line of machine instruction I have a bad memory access. So yeah, not really sure what that's about. So how did I replicate this? Let's take a look at the view. So there's no build errors, because if I had an error I wouldn't be able to run this in the simulator. So let's just scroll down a little bit. I'm just going to go a little bit at a time. You try and pick out what's wrong. Okay, so the issue's there. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but let's take a look a little bit closer. The cursor was flashing right over it. So let's look at line 44 here. I'm going to make this super big. Okay, here it is. Maybe some of you have caught it, maybe some of you haven't. So I was troubleshooting this, trying to figure out where the issue was. I didn't know where it was. I see it now. It's very obvious to me now. But let me just scroll back up to the beginning of the view. See this view body here. And this is how I found it. I did a return right here. Now I'm going to get some warnings. Not necessarily a build error, but a warning. Could this run? Could this work? Let's try it out. Look at that, it worked. But there is one thing that's missing, which is that onChange handler that's tracking the scene phase. So what happened to that? Well, if we were to go back down, just scroll a little bit to the onChange, notice we have a warning here. And it's saying code after return. Right, so what that means is that we're returning something from the body of this function or from this block of code, which right now is a computed property. And anything after the return, any statements or expressions actually don't get run. But here we are, instead of a build error, we just have a warning. But I just wanted to point out that if you're having an issue and you're not really sure where it is and you're crashing and maybe even got to that particular part in the core Swift library, yeah, just look out for your dots because you need the dots there in order for it to execute. Another good tip here is just do a return at the top of your body and see if there's any other build warnings that come up because of that. All right, if you guys like what you saw, go ahead and give a thumbs up. And if you guys have any more questions, put them in the comments below. I thought this was an interesting topic to bring up since it's something I ran into an issue with. So if you want to see more things like this, some more practical troubleshooting, just let me know. And have a good one.